I do something a little fun here. Fun for me, hopefully a little bit of fun for you. Each slide has, in the green text there is a subheader, a um, really just a quote or an item about or from a particular movie, and it's the same movie um, in this particular class all the way through, and see if you guys can pick up on which movie it is that I'm quoting here. Anyway, this first slide here is really just a general. This is what we're going to go over. This is the point of the class. The final slide that we'll have, this is for those of you taking notes, is really just a task list. And so for those that want to take notes as we go through, you're more than welcome to. Just understand I'm going to give you a list at the end of things to do. And of course, just like yesterday, I will actually email everybody, all of the attendees here, this live class. I'll email you a copy of the presentation in PowerPoint if you'd like. So, but I look forward to that later this afternoon. So the purpose of today's class is really to go in and show you folks a little bit about the theory behind how to build a good functional X-Site website in general. This is of course specifically we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how to do it on the X-Site. But regardless of what market you're in or what you're doing with the website, or whether it's an Alamode X-Site or somebody else's website or something you have built for yourself, these concepts all still apply. The how-to, which is actually the how-to in this is very simple and doesn't take nearly as much time as the theory. It's the theory that really counts here. A lot of this is going to be new to most of you. I do want to get caught up on some of the basic goals behind what we're going for here. You do need to have some sort of organization on your website. It's very important. We're going to give you some examples of what to do and examples of what not to do specifically. But if you'll notice that fourth bullet point there, to how to prove that you're credible, you need to solve people's problems, and you need to tell them, I'm the guy, I'm the gal who's going to solve a particular problem that you have. You do that by stating the problem. You do that by applying calls to action and all kinds of other things that we'll get into and give examples for. And of course, don't forget search engine optimization. I know some of you were here for yesterday's class when we went over the top 10 free SEO tips, and that's great, but you can't leave out SEO. You've got to use SEO. But yesterday's class, the SEO class, is about how to bring people in and get them to your website. So we've covered that for most of you already. But today's class is about what to do with people once they actually hit your website. When they come to you, what are you going to do with them? How do you engage with them? How do you get them to interact with you? Do you do that via the web? Do you get them to read more? Do you get them to phone you? Do you get them to email you? Whatever the case may be, there's lots of different opportunities for you to make different choices in certain places. Some things work better than others. But in essence, it's about engagement. How do you engage people? And we've got lots of different examples about how all of this works. And no, it's not Karate Kid or Kung Fu Panda. Okay. Right off the bat, there are certain things that you have to have in line before you even start to build a website. You have to have a plan. You flat out do. You got to have a plan for pretty much anything, any project that you work on, right? You have to have a goal and you have to have a plan. So first and foremost, your goal. What is it that you want? And I always ask this question. I'll go ahead and ask it now. When somebody visits your website, what is it that you want them to do? Go ahead and type into the chat window there for me, if you will. This is not an ethereal type question. I mean, go ahead and answer. It's not rhetorical at all. When someone visits your website, what do you want them to do? Okay. This is becoming obvious to me that you folks have not yet been through my Jumpstart Your X-Site class. One of the things that I do in the Jumpstart, the live version anyway, of the Jumpstart class, is I ask this very question, and I get a lot of these answers. You know, place an order, order an appraisal, contact me. Well, my question for each one of you is this: how? For instance, Arthur says make contact. My question then is how? How do you want them to make contact? Mark, that you want them to take an action. Well, which action? Matt, place an order and pay for it. How do you want them to place an order? How do you want them to pay for it? See where I'm going with this, folks? This goes back to, again, our overriding concept that goes for all of the X-Site and marketing and whatever classes. The overriding concept is be specific. Be more specific whenever you possibly can. And this is nowhere is this more true than when you define your goals. Define your goals about what you want. You can't just say, I want more orders. You also have to say, I want more orders over a time period. From whom do you want more orders? Do you want more orders from new people? Do you want more orders from lenders? Do you want more orders from attorneys? Do you want more orders from so-and-so? If so, how many orders? And what you do is you continue to ask these questions until you essentially narrow down the scope of what it is that you want to something that has numbers. You want a specific action, and you want to be able to quantify it. So, right off the bat here, you are likely to be unsuccessful with any venture that you take with your business if you don't write down exactly, specifically what you want and make sure that what you write down is verifiable. So saying that you want more orders is not going to work, right? You've got to say, I want to get 3 orders a month from 3 brand new clients. Okay, that's a specific goal, and that's something that you write down. You can turn around at the end of the month. You can verify whether that worked or not. You can say, I want 1 extra order from each of my current clients this month or over the next 2 months. And you can quantify that. So it's a specific action usually associated with a number. I know I go over this and over this, but I find a lot of times when appraisers contact me to, in a month or two and follow up with me, my first question out of my mouth is, well, what was your goal? And almost invariably, they can't say what they really wanted. They want more business, or they want to have a good-looking website or whatever. It's nothing quantifiable. You've got to make sure that you can quantify it. It's just thinking about it a little bit differently. And write it down, by the way. Don't just say it aloud in your head. You got to write it down. Okay, another thing. You must pick an audience or a specialty. I know what you're thinking. You say, Joel, I do all kinds of appraisals for all kinds of different people. That's fantastic. That's not helpful at all. That's not helpful to me. It's not helpful to you. It's certainly not helpful to all of the customers, to all of these people. Let me give you an example of why thinking about it this way, the way of being everything to everybody, just doesn't work for you. I'll tell you, I've had a conversation multiple times with multiple different people that goes something like this. I say, Sally, you need to devote your X-Site to doing work for attorneys. And Sally says, well, I also do lender work too. And if I don't put down that I do lender work, then I'm not going to get anything. And I said, well, you've had an X-Site for 1.5 years. You're not really doing anything with it right now. You don't have that business through your X-Site right now, right? So by not putting that in there, you're not losing business. It's business that you don't have right now. And what she ends up doing is she ends up going out and she customizes the website or a particular page and dedicates that to that particular type of business. And then that particular type of business on the X-Site increases for her. So I say this, and you don't have to go hog wild, is a term I like to use, like some people do. And one of my favorite examples is this appraiser that, and I forget exactly where she is, but she works somewhere on the coast, and she works it's someplace with a bunch of nudist colonies. And she essentially is the nudist colony appraiser. That's what she does. And she started doing that through her website. and she essentially does nothing but nudist colony appraisals. She's the contact for that particular type of person. She comes up with in all the search engines for all the different colonies because of the different pages she has on her website and so forth. But she's got a specialty, and she does really, really well. She does a lot of business through her website. It's not that people actually use the website to order appraisals from her, but she gets business from it. She gets recommendations, people drop her name, other people look her up in Google, and then she gets the phone call. That's where I'm going with all of this, is having these specialties, having these things on the website, having individual pages dedicated to certain things. Now, the best website that you could have from a marketing standpoint is one that is specific to a particular audience or specialty and nothing else. As appraisers, you're going to have probably more than one market area. You're probably going to have more than one city. You're probably going to have more than one county. We all know that. We understand it, and it's great to put that all on the homepage. But when we get in and we start talking about building individual pages, then you're going to need to be more specific. You're going to do FHA appraisals for X county or for X city. That's a good narrowed scope for a particular page. Right? Not just FHA appraisals, but FHA appraisals for a particular county or city. So that's a specialty. Of course, and this goes without saying, but you must know your area, your audience, and your business. You just do. You've got to know what people want right up front. And this comes into play when we talk about calls to action here in just a little bit. All right. Your choice. And I mentioned this in the Jumpstart class, but it bears mentioning quickly one more time. You can focus your website on yourself and how fantastic you are and what all your qualifications are and what your prices are and who you've worked with and put your mission statement front and center in the middle of the page. Or you can focus your website on your clients. Those are your two options. What your clients want, what your clients need, where your clients work, where they want the business, the types of appraisals that they're going to need and why they would want them and why they would choose you. That's the kind of thing that you're going to want to do. You're going to want to focus your website on your customers. Yes, it's okay to talk about yourself, and that's great. You're your own best cheerleader. But you need to focus your website on your customers. Everything that you put on your website should funnel down and provide something of value, some sort of intellectual value directly related to solving a customer problem that they're going to have. That's what it all boils down to. Anyway, let's talk about structure here. Some other ethereal goals, and then I'll give some examples of how this works and see what you guys think about them. There's what I call the funnel. Some people call this, well, there's like 80 different things to call it. But what you want to do is you want to pick a call to action. We talked about calls to action in the Jumpstart, gave some examples there. It's a specific task that you want them to do. And a call to action could be something as simple as click here to read more. So for example, I have on, let me pull up this. You'll remember this from my Jumpstart class, right? No, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me get in, and we'll come up with a good call to action here. In fact, let's just go ahead and pause here, and we're going to come up with our first example all together as a group. I'm going to log into my website here. I want you folks to think about this question. You can use, if you've already taken the Jumpstart and you've done something different, you are, of course, welcome to bring that up, and we can use that here if you'd like. But think of a specific problem that a particular type of client has. Let's take a problem that an attorney has. Why would an attorney want an appraisal from you? What kind of service could you provide an attorney that solves a problem that they have, a specific problem? Okay, well that's a type of appraisal, Mike, right? That's the solution. The solution is an estate appraisal. What's the real problem that they have? Again, Mark, that's a type of appraisal. Again, that's the solution. Solution is the appraisal. Okay? Well, let me ask this question, though. We have, in WinTotal, and in Total 2010, we have our general purpose forms. The general purpose forms are widely loved by the attorneys that receive them from the appraisers that use them. Can any of you imagine why that would be the case? Just the general consumer forms. Why would an attorney like to present a general purpose form to their client as opposed to a URAR to their client? This may not be obvious right up front, but my point of doing this and going through this exercise with you folks is to get you to think differently about the process that of what you should put on the website. Because you're going to do this over and over and over again for yourself, but you got to think outside the box a lot of times. It's simpler and easier to read. It's not just easier to read, Arthur, it's easier to understand, right? But it's easier to understand for your client's client. Attorneys, I don't know how many of you, if very many of you have done very much attorney work, but homeowners generally just don't understand how to read the URAR. They don't understand the way it's laid out and the terminologies that are used and so forth. And a lot of times the attorney has to sit and explain to their client, to the homeowner, the detail that you wrote out in your appraisal report. So what you've got is you've got your client taking their time to explain your work to somebody else. And of course, you could argue that that's their job, and it is, because they're counsel. But if you think about it, that's a problem that you can solve. It is an annoyance to your client to have to explain your work to their client, right? So solve that problem. The problem is the solution is the general purpose form. But the problem that precedes it is the fact that they're annoyed at having to explain the URAR to everybody. You see the difference and the distinction between these two? So when it comes to it, let's go here on our home page. Let's write this kind of thing out. Just create another paragraph down here in the middle. I'll bolden it, bold text. Let's ask it in a question. You guys think of a kind of question that you could ask the lender? If the solution is the general purpose appraisal forms, and you're going to end up saying something like, take advantage of our general purpose forms, or something like this, right? You want to precede that, which is the solution. You want to precede that with a description of the problem, sometimes in a question format. Maybe, are you tired of explaining? Not take advantage of. Let's do, we can give you a report format that's easier to read without all the normal legal and financial terminology that you're used to. Ask for our general purpose forms at no extra cost. Okay? So here you have a problem that you've stated in a question format and the solution for it as well. To apply this to what we call the funnel, what you could do is, this is, of course, ask, take the bolding off of this here. Ask for general purpose forms at no extra cost. This is a kind of a call to action. But what you could do is you could create a link to a page GP Forms, assuming, of course, that I have this page. I would need to create this page, but that's talk about page creation here in a minute. This is a call to action, right? Where they can come and they can read more. You could actually do something like this. I've done this in some of my other classes. Read more, ... little ellipsis there. You can create a link on that instead. More obvious as to what that is that they're going to. They can read more about the general purpose forms. They can see an example of it and so forth. That's a call to action. Most people consider calls to action to be this real big, grandiose, order an appraisal now. Everybody always wants to put a big order now button right in the middle of the website. Well, folks, let me ask this. The last time you went shopping for a large ticket item like, a television or a stereo or a car or whatever, you probably started your search online, right? Did any of you just, first website you went to, just went ahead and bought it? Or even, did you find a website, find something that you liked and bought it immediately? More often than not, unless it's something like a book off of Amazon, probably not. You probably did a little bit of research, and it was probably on a return visit to a website that you made your purchase, if at all. More than likely, if you bought something like a television or a car, you probably walked out onto the lot, shook somebody's hand, or you went out to Best Buy and you looked at it on the wall and then you carried the thing home in your truck, right? You didn't buy it online. That's how most people work. That's how most business for large ticket durable items and, a lot of times services, this is conducted. So, my point is, having a call to action where it's order now, place an order here, click here to fill out an order form, click here to fax me, email me your order, call me to place an order, order, is not going to work for you. It will almost certainly not work for you. Your best bet is going to be low-level calls to action. Click here to read more, having other pages for them to go to, asking for an email address in exchange for a coupon, for instance, is a low-level call to action. Something of value. Somebody mentioned the word value earlier. I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but I have here this is a decent call to action here. Email me for this week's coupon. This is the one from the Jumpstart class, remember? A specific action, low level, for a particular exchange of something of value. You give me your email address, I'll give you something of value. One exchange for the other, right? What are you offering in exchange for the order right up front? Are they going to get anything immediately, or do they have to sit back and wait? And think of it from a psychological standpoint. Of course, you're going to have to sit back and wait. Anybody know how many people are just really into delayed gratification there from a psychological standpoint? Not very many people. But this is something that they'll get immediately, right? They can email you, you just fire it right back. You don't have to go out and do the work and everything and then get back to them 2 or 3 days later. This is an immediate gratification kind of thing. And it's tit for tat. It's low level. They're not committed to anything except giving you an email address. That's low level. Read more is another low level. Click here to go somewhere else. Scroll down. Whatever else the case may be. There are lots of other calls to action that are out there. You just got to figure out what it is that you want people to do. Generally speaking, on information pages, reading more is a good thing, whether it's on that page or scroll down or click to go to another page or whatever. Everybody see what I've done here? Now, eventually, of course, you're going to want to ask them for the order. You're going to want to, eventually. But you're not going to want to do that everywhere. You're going to want to do, and this goes back to the idea of, what we call the funnel here, is you choose what you want them to do, you provide them solutions, you provide answers, you provide information, you directly offer visitors a way to do it, but what you're going to do is you're going to funnel them to the few that exist. Of course, the order and appraisals page, that's a pretty big deal. But a call to action, remember, a call to action to get in touch with you, to place the order or whatever, could be something you do verbally on the phone. Meaning, you take something like this, and instead of having an email address, maybe you say, call me and I'll send you a coupon, or call me and I'll give you a free quote, or whatever. A phone call for an exchange of information, not placing an order. But then, of course, you ask for the order. Once you have their email address, you can market to them. We cover this in marketing classes, and when it's appropriate to ask for the money and so forth. And there's lots of niceties involved in actually sending out email marketing, so we cover those in the marketing classes. But you don't always have to, on the website, have an order. You've got all these utilities that are out there. You got the website, you got the email, you got the fax, you got phone calls. You don't always have to ask for the order everywhere. In fact, some of the best websites that I've seen are the ones that just say, send me an email or give me a phone call. They give a real good reason for it, and then the salesperson on the other end of the phone closes the deal. Right? That's generally one of the better ways of getting things done. You're going to do whatever you want to do, obviously, but from a best practices standpoint, that's going to be your way to go there. Get back to the PowerPoint here. So, you're going to have a lot of these, a lot of indirectly offering visitors a way to do it. Learn more, read more, click here, informational pages. What you don't want to do, or what you do want to do is you want to lead visitors toward your end goal in every page using baby steps. Click here to read more, click here to read more, email me with blah, 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 give me a phone call, here's my cell phone number, whatever. Whatever the case may be, whatever the next step that you want them to take, eventually you want to get to that end goal of asking for the order, be it in an email, be it on a particular page on the website, or be it on the phone call. This is what we call the funnel. They're going to start out on the home page. They're not going to immediately place the order. They're going to go to another page. Then they go to another page. Then they're going to send you an email. Then they're going to get 2 or 3 emails from you. Then they're going to read one of the emails. Then they're going to follow one of the emails back to another page of your website. And then the next time they get an email from you, they may phone call you and ask for the order or something like that. You never know how that's going to work out. But the point is, you've got all of these tools available. You don't need to grab the order now hammer and hit them with it all the time. It's counterproductive to do that. Buy now, buy now, buy now. You hate salespeople that do that, so don't do it on your website. Use this idea of leading visitors one baby step at a time through different types of calls to action to eventually interact with you one way or the other. And here's your main hint. We did this a moment ago on the website when I helped you create you helped me create that little blip there on my homepage. The best offers tie together what you want with what your visitor wants. solving the problems with what you provide. You want an appraisal, you want them to want an appraisal, right? So tie together what you want with what your visitor wants. All right. Of course, like I stated at the beginning of class, you're the one to solve their problem. So you do need to talk a little bit about yourself, and when you do it, you need to take some of this information and talk about it not in regards to you, but in regards to them, if that makes any sense. To give an example, where are you? That's a question that somebody might ask. Where are you? Well, it's one thing to say, I service the Oklahoma City area. It's another thing to ask, do you need an appraisal in the Oklahoma City area? There's a subtle psychological difference there. There's a big distinction from a marketing standpoint. One works and one really doesn't work. Guess which one it is? It's the one that focuses on the client. Is the one that generally works better more than anything else. What do you do? Well, I do FHA appraisals. Are you looking for an FHA appraisal? That's the kind of terminology to use. So whenever I give these kinds of things to you, give these pieces of advice, how are you qualified? What's important? Why should I care? You've got to put all of these, take all of these things with a grain of salt and understand you're not going to just say I, me, we, our, and us on every page. You're going to want to change the terminologies and the way that you speak when providing this kind of information. Okay, these are questions, by the way. If you want to write these down, you're welcome to. Again, I will send the PowerPoint to you if you'd like. But these are questions that need to be answered. If they don't need to all be answered on the homepage, obviously, but they do need to all be answered on your website. Okay. What is it that you need to actually put on the website? Content pages. Well, this is obvious, right? You're going to have to provide answers to people. You're going to provide them information. Remember, the information that they're going to look for is information that's helpful to them, not information that cheerleads you. I keep saying that, but I continue to see appraisers over and over again do nothing but talk about how great they are. And that generally is, up to a certain point, is just not helpful at all. You need offers. Offer to help with things. Offer solutions. Offer information. Offer discounts. I've seen appraisers back when gas was, what was it, $17 a gallon at one point or whatever, California. You poor California people. I've seen people offer free gas cards. I'll send you a free gas card if you order more than 5 appraisals from me this month or something like that. It's whatever. Anyway, up-to-date information. This is one of your guns. RSS, for those that don't know what RSS is, I'll show you that in just a moment. Blogs and news feeds. What you don't want to do is, on your home page, put a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. This is a good time to talk about. Well, I'll do a little bit about dynamic content in a minute. Let me close this up and go back in here. We'll talk about RSS and blogs. We'll do news feeds in a minute when I talk about dynamic content. RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication. Open this up. Let's say I work in Manhattan. NewYorkTimes.com. Scroll down. What you're looking for, the RSS, generally has this symbol on it, this little orange symbol down here. And what this really does is it provides a news feed that is essentially hands-off for you. Whoever provides the RSS, in this case it's New York Times, they're providing a feed that displays on your website that links back to them. This actually helps them from an SEO standpoint. For those that were in the class yesterday, this is going to provide an inbound link from you to them. So it helps their ranking, but it provides dynamic content on your website, content that changes on a regular basis that doesn't really require anything from you. It just happens. Let me show you how to set this up, and we'll go in and we'll show you what it looks like, give you some ideas about what works and what doesn't with this. To do this is actually remarkably simple once you find what it is that you're looking for. Not every area, not every newspaper is going to have this. You maybe a trade association or some blog that you like or whatever, something real estate related. Let's see here. Where is this? Real estate. There are actually several different RSS feeds. There's 4 of them here. I don't want to do that. Looks like there are 3 of them. There's just the regular real estate one. There's the blog for Q&A and the Raising the Roof blog. I have no idea what that is. Let's go ahead and find out what that is. When I click on it, it takes me to this page. And this looks a lot like Google. What this is it's the name of the article, snippet of the article, and then what you'll see is this will be a link back to the article. That's really all that it is. There'll be a certain number of these, and they'll change on a regular basis. What happens is RSS takes this information, which is in a standardized format, and puts it back into your website. You can actually take this and copy this URL. That's what you're looking for. Let me hold on just a second here. Actually, let me do this because most of the time it's XML. I'm going to do this just on the generic real estate one. I'm going to right click and copy this, even though it says obviously XML. What you're looking for is something that usually says XML, but you'll know it when you see it because you'll click on it and it will look just like what that looked like a moment ago. They all look the same in Internet Explorer. Okay. To set up RSS, you're probably going to want to do this on an individual page. I'm going to go ahead and go to the wizard here. You can go and you can put it on an individual page if you want to. You can put it at the bottom of a page. You can put it above the content, below the content. You can have it be whatever part of the page you want. My recommendation is put it on its own page. I'll click Add New Page here in Custom. Let's name this New York Times Feed. Actually, copy and paste that in there. And you'll want to leave your page content alone. Generally speaking, RSS works best when it's the only thing. So you'll check the box for RSS feed for this page. Oops. Let me get back up the I was looking at a moment ago. Again, right-click, copy shortcut. You give it a name. Oops. Add the feed. Paste in the XML link that I just got off the website. And I click Add Feed. Save. And, of course, hit Save and Close. I'll turn the page on, obviously, by checking the box for NY Times Feed. No, I don't want to use Accelerate right now. Thank you. Okay, now I have this page here on my website, NY Times Feed. This is what it looks like. Obviously, we pick the color here from your theme. But this provides you dynamic content. This does help a little bit with search engine optimization. Not a lot, but a little. But it does help with traffic because this will be a page that Google does hit often. what this does is it also provides a reason for people to, especially if you've got really good information, if you find a blog that you really like, you can, and the blog obviously has to allow RSS, which a lot of them do. Even a lot of the people that write these blogs, they don't even know that it does RSS. Anyway, it provides a reason for people to use you. Provides good landing pages and so forth. And that's what RSS is. Very simple, very straightforward, and it's dynamic content that's useful to people. Blogs. I did talk about blogs yesterday in the SEO class, and blogs do double duty. There is a reason why blog pages tend to be the pages on a website that are most often visited. I showed this yesterday. This is another one of my training websites. I don't know what that was. Another one of my training websites, and you'll notice that the statistics tell me that of my pages that have been visited, that my blog page gets visited more often than my home page. It's not the case so far today. It certainly was yesterday. And if you'll notice, I'm almost 500 visits only to the blog page. This particular page does really well with search engines because of the specificity of the keywords. I talk about that in some of my other classes. But there's a really good reason why that particular page does very well. It has to do with the keywords. But the blog does really well because people come back to it. Also gives you an opportunity to market yourself if you'd like. So a blog is important. It provides a reason for people to come back for that all-important second visit. And if you have people's information already, you already have email addresses and so forth, you can actually, using Accelerate, when you post your blog, Accelerate can blast the fact that you have a new blog entry with a little snippet of it to everybody in your list. And this works just like you'd imagine any other page would. You just fill out your information, you write in what you want, and you hit at the bottom, you hit Submit Post. You can save it as a draft if you want to. We open the posts. This is from my other website. Let me go all the way back here. Very short blog post. Not one, you don't want to do one this short, but you can see what you do is you just type in what you want, type out the text, scroll down and hit Submit Post. Now, what to put in a blog? Well, anything that you think would be of interest to somebody else. People like humorous stories. People like interesting things that they don't know about. People like hearing about the way other people view the world. They really do. They like hearing stories that explain other worldviews or other things that they don't know about. They like information. There's a whole group of people that are just nothing but information seekers, and they'll sign up for anything if it gives them information they didn't have, even if they're not particularly interested in it. It's a whole class of people, large group of people. What you do is you just type something away, just maybe 2, maybe 3 paragraphs. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be more than about 10 sentences. It can be if you want it to be, not necessary. Maybe something you've seen in a particular area, something that you've noticed a trend in a particular subdivision, for instance, a type of construction or a particular type of wood that isn't holding up well with age or something. Who knows? A type of tree that annoys you, or a funny story about how you snagged your coat on a bush as you were throwing your tape through trying to tape a house or whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as it's somewhat interesting, and you can post it. You can use it as a marketing utility, and it provides good SEO for people and a reason for them to come back. That's what a blog is. Nothing to be scared of. You don't have to be, the most expert grammarian on the planet to make this work for you. News feeds, like I said, RSS, you can have news feeds on your dynamic content, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Back to the slideshow here. Use testimonials. You've been working with people for gosh only knows how long. Maybe you've been in business for 12 years and you've got this one attorney client, or maybe you've got some, Joe Linder down the street that you've personally known for forever. Just send him an email and say, hey, Joe, I've been here with you for over a decade. There's got to be some reason that you do business with me. Can you just write 2 sentences about why you like to work with me? You're not looking for a letter of reference here. You're looking for a 2, maybe 3-sentence explanation of how great you are from somebody else. Testimonial is a good way to talk about yourself without talking about yourself. People give a lot more credibility to information about you in testimonials than information that you just state about yourself, even if it's the same information. It carries more weight if it's in testimonial format. You can have a page dedicated to testimonials. You can put testimonials on the side of your website in the dynamic content that we'll talk about. You can put it at the bottom of some of the web pages. Doesn't matter. You can spread them out. Doesn't really matter. Just get some testimonials. Organization. Okay, this is about your content pages. Let me pull my website up again. Give an example of what we're talking about here. You've got to have some sort of organization to your website. It has to be clean. It should be simple. What you don't want is you don't want a lot of different fonts. You don't want a lot of different colors. Generally speaking, if you're going to use red, make it a darker red. If you're going to use blue text, make sure it's only under a link. Don't put blue anywhere else on your any blue text anywhere else on your website. Generally speaking, black or very dark gray is going to be the way to go with text. You can organize it with bullet points. You can organize it with tables. It doesn't really matter. There's lots of ways of getting it done, but you do have to. You can't just throw it all up there. Now, one thing you don't want to do is something as annoying as this. Let me pull this back up here. I'm going to go to the wizard. I'm going to edit the content of my homepage. Of course, by this point, since you've all had the Jumpstart class, you all know exactly where I'm going. Okay. Actually, let me do this on my good homepage. This is a custom page here. There we go. Types of appraisals. I'll highlight this, and I'll center the text. Now, if the photo weren't there, here, let me get that photo out of the way. Let me just center all of this and show you what this looks like. You folks think this looks nice? Anybody like the way this looks? What about if I were to do this to a paragraph? Do you like the way that looks? Well, you might like the way it looks from just a quick snapshot of it. But actually, trying to read these, your eye is having to jump from here to there and back and forth rather than all in one line, all in one organization. So don't use center justified text unless it's on something like a title. Like this is a one line, larger than the rest of the font, sort of a title thing. You'll notice that this paragraph is not centered. I don't want you to center this either. Left justify everything if you can. That needs to be bullet points again, but that's going to be easier to read, even if this is center justified. But still, I don't even like this, right? Because your eye has to go from here all the way over here. So left justify it. Makes it easier to read. And also looks a little bit more organized too. There we go. So left justification is best. You could, of course, like under this paragraph here, use the newspaper, easy to read newspaper layout, which is exactly what this is here. See how that works? Side all the way down on the side here, spaces some of this stuff out. A lot of folks use this. And Mark gets the candy prize for today. That's exactly right, sir. Mark, did you just become friends with Google? Okay. You do need information about you or your company, and I would put this kind of stuff, your life history, your mission statement, all of this kind of stuff goes on the About Us or the staff directory. Let me be clear. Do not put your mission statement on your homepage. Nobody cares about your mission statement. People that do care are going to be the ones that are hunting for it in the first place, right? There are other things that you could put on your homepage that are going to be much more helpful to customers looking for types of appraisals in your area other than just your mission statement and what you're all about. It's good information. It's important to have it on the website, but there is a place for it. You do want to use social media. This has become a much bigger gun recently. Facebook, ActiveRain, Twitter. Folks, 6-year-olds use Facebook and Twitter. You guys can do it too. All you got to do is type. It's just getting over the fear factor of getting in and creating a Twitter account, creating a Facebook account, or whatever. You don't have to have photos if you don't want. You just find people's email addresses. It's as easy to use as email. Facebook is fantastic now. It's easy to use as email. ActiveRain, for those that don't know, is the real estate social network. So it's real estate specific. Most folks also use Facebook. This is a big one right now. Okay, as always, check your statistics so you know what's working and what's not. Obviously, I showed a moment ago, excuse me, how to log in and get which pages are being watched. If you've got a page that has like 6 views, then something's not working right. Either that page is of no use to anybody, or Google doesn't see it, or it's not on the website properly, or it's in a bad place, or whatever. With me? So you've got to check your stats to see if people are actually using the website, which pages are getting used. Is there a page that's not getting used, and so forth. So check your statistics. Content for your pages. We talked about a lot of this already. Discuss the problems that your customers have and answer the questions that your customers usually ask. This is, again, goes back to one of the first slides where I say you've got to know your customers and you've got to know your market. You probably can answer. You could probably write an FAQ, though I wouldn't do this. You could probably write an FAQ with the top 10 questions that you get asked. You could probably do that. Well, the answer to those questions should be somewhere on the website. Not necessarily in an FAQ place, but the answer should be there. People should be able to easily find this information. If you get the questions over and over again all the time, then that's the kind of stuff you put on a website. That makes good content. Activities. You want people to engage with you. Search, read, sign up, contact. Again, calls to action. Activities. Offer to help with the problems you discuss. Phone numbers, email addresses, take advantage of, ... read more about, ... we can help with, ... From the Jumpstart class, you'll recognize this. Talk to your visitors. Don't talk at them. Be part of the solution, not off to the side as part of the problem. Okay, use bolding, headlines, and pictures to attract attention, although, I hesitated to put this up I hesitated to put this up to begin with because a lot of folks are just going to go hog wild with the bolding, and I would say no. You'll notice I don't use much bolding. I use it for this here, and that's pretty much it. I have a little bit of bolding here for the title, but you know, most of my stuff isn't bolded. Even my service area doesn't have any bold on it. Use it sparingly, but use it for the important stuff, the things you really want people to look at. Use short lists, short sentences, and simple words. Somebody wrote KISS. Todd, are you were you in the service? I know in the Marine Corps we used to use KISS all the time. But that stands for Keep It Simple Stupid. KISS. Really, you need to write your website such that an 8th grader could understand it. Don't write it such that a lender can understand it. Don't write it such that an attorney can understand it. Use terminologies that you think an 8th grader would be able to understand. Make it easy for them to figure things out, and use low-level, low-to-the-ground terminologies, and, of course, short lists, short sentences, and simple words. That's a short list, right? Simple words, simple sentences. End with the next steps. What you don't want to do is you don't want to get down to the bottom of a page and it just be over. You know, the click here to read more. Well, if they click here to read more, it takes them to another page. But if the only thing on that page is just text to read, what are they going to do when they're done reading? Remember, going back to the Jumpstart class, if you want them to do something, you have to tell them to do something. Even if they don't do what you ask, they are more likely to do something if you actually make a decision, a stated decision on the website for what you want them to do. Even if they don't do that very thing, they're more likely to do something. So always on your website, you should have next steps. Click here to read more, again, or call me, or email me, or something. Always have something on every page. Every page needs some sort of call to action. That's part of that funnel that we mentioned. Okay, I want a heads up for those of you that have diarrhea of the fingers. No more than 2 minutes worth of reading on most pages. There are very few pages where it's okay to have like 20 minutes worth of reading, but they're few and far between. What you don't want to do is intimidate people with reading. I have seen home pages that it literally, and this is not an exaggeration, it would literally take 30 minutes to read through it verbally. So if you're going to put something on a page, sit down and read it to yourself and time yourself. I think you'll be surprised to learn that a full page's worth of reading, like a Microsoft Word document, a full page's worth of reading is like 2 or 3 minutes of reading. That's way too much to begin with, so you got to pare it down. Got a question here from Renee. Did I mention once that you should have an average of 7 pages? Renee, no, not at all. Having good pages, more pages, information is good. 7 pages, I think the number 7 may be a reference to the Jumpstart class. The Jumpstart class is for standard level and enterprise level X-Site owners. Standard level owners can have a maximum of 7 pages. Enterprise level can have as many as you guys want. And those of you who are elite members, obviously you have the enterprise level, so you can have as many pages as you want. Now, what I wouldn't do is overwhelm people. We'll talk about that here when we talk about button organization here in a little bit. Dynamic content is the stuff on the right-hand side. That is this information right here. This is my dynamic content. The text that I've written, the links and stuff that I put on the side, send me an instant mobile message, news feeds, whatever. Okay? This is what we're talking about. And each page gets its own dynamic content. So what you set up here on the home page is going to be different than what shows up on the, the For Buyers page or something like that, right? All right, number 1 rule about dynamic content. Keep it relevant. My question for you would be, what on earth does an Inman newsfeed, what business does an Inman newsfeed have to do with the homepage content of your website, or with a local links page on your website, or with FHA appraisals? It has no business being there. It's a newsfeed. Newsfeeds go by themselves. I've never been a fan of that. What about rates? Today's rates, today's market rates for whatever. Is that good on the homepage? No. It might be helpful to a homeowner, so put it on a homeowner page if you're going to put it anywhere, right? You guys with me? You gotta figure out which pieces of dynamic content are going to be helpful and support the content of the actual page. So the content of the page is king, and the dynamic content should always be subordinate to it. You should always be able to point to something in the page content that the dynamic content that you've chosen supports. Include contact and sign-up forms with impulse offers. Okay, let me pull this back up again, and I'll give examples. Again, be specific, be specific, be specific. Don't ask we have the, and I hate this, I wish we would take it out, the got a question form. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's on half of the X sites that are out there, but it doesn't work. Nobody uses it, the got a question form. Nobody uses it. And why? Because it's not specific. But you have this right here. Property tax is too high. This is a specific form with a specific question that you're going to get something very specific out of. Now this is built in, but I've got right here, another one that I've created called this month's coupon. In exchange for essentially your first name and your email address, I'll send you a coupon. This is the same thing, you'll notice, as what I had earlier on that good homepage. Email me now for this month's coupon. This is the same thing, except in another format. It's a different place. It's a button that they click on to engage you. It's a little bit higher level, but not much. It's still not asking for the order, right? This is, even though it's on the website, you'll notice they don't have to click on a link, which opens their Outlook. Then they have to type their message in and hit send. This is right on the website, low to the ground. They don't have to use Outlook or whatever, right here on the website. Now, you can create, since all of you should be elite members in this class, all of you can create as many of these custom forms as you want. And that's here under Client Data Capture. You can edit your forms over here. Of course, the ones that are 5 that are pre-built, you can't edit. But this month's coupon and the, hey, how am I doing form, those can be edited because I created those. Let me go ahead and edit this month's coupon to show you how easy this is. You just name the title of the thing here. Let me actually pull up the, up and show it to you here. Remember, this is what it looks like, right? And this is the editor. Pretty simple, pretty explanatory. If you want to add another field, you do so. You give it a name. You make it required by checking the box. You reorganize it here. You can even have groups of fields. I recommend keeping it simple. But pretty much it's all customizable, every single thing about it. Those are your forms. You can put those as buttons in the dynamic content. You can put them on pages if you want to, directly on pages, though that doesn't usually work nearly as well as these buttons. We have found that these buttons work very, very well when placed up near the top. Don't bury them down on the right-hand side, obviously. This is what I'm looking for here. Okay. Include related links or news. Related links. Related links or related news. Related. Again, make it relevant. The other things that I've created here. Let me go to my home page here. Well, I saw that now serving Canadian County. We go to select these components for my dynamic content. By the way, dynamic content is turned on by checking the box. Again, one page at a time. You choose what to put in here. Now, newsfeed, I wouldn't use. Mortgage calculator, not a big fan of that. Rates, obviously not a big fan of putting that pretty much anywhere. But you can create your own links if you want to. Link out to whomever you'd like. But notice that you can choose custom content, and I can put whatever I want to in here. You'll notice that I've got my own text. Here's a photo with a link that links to one of my other websites, followed by some of my own text. Completely customizable. And if I show the editing toolbar, you'll notice it's the same toolbar that you use everywhere else in the Excite and Accelerate. It's the same toolbar. Again, you can put whatever you want to in here. Include quick answer options like chat or mobile notification. Mobile notification is the easiest, so we'll cover that first. Low-hanging fruit. Come on. There we go. Mobile notifications. Essentially, check the box to turn it on. Choose which, I wouldn't choose this one, by the way. This is the one that's been there for, gosh, since what, 2002? I wouldn't turn that on. I'd use something else. One of these other ones. Anyway, choose your icon. Send an auto response if you want to. Checking that box pulls up the creation of an auto responder, which is fine there. That way they get something back immediately if you want them to. You check all your boxes, and you can't see this very well. Let me see if I can make this a little bit more easy to see. Well, that's not going to do it. That has to do with the way my monitor is being shared here. So I'll use the keyboard. Page positioning. Oops. You can actually decide where you can see down there where it says custom positioning. This is not going to stay there, is it? It says customized positioning. You can actually tell it which of the items you want in what order. It's literally drag and drop for whatever order you want those things to show up in, those items that you've selected above. The other thing was the chat feature. I don't know if any of you have used the chat feature, but it's available on the Excite. You turn it on. First of all, you turn it on in the wizard for online chat. Check the box for it. Choose which option you want. Talk to a girl, fine. Talk to a girl. Change your color. You can use your own custom image if you want to. Home maintenance, whatever. Lots of stuff to the online chat feature. In essence, I just wanted to show you. Turn it on here. Then it shows up on your Excite here. I haven't turned the thing on yet in my Excite's desktop. This is actually a feature of Excite's desktop, which you can get to at excitesdesktop.com. It's a program that you install. It's free, comes with the Excite, but it allows you to do a couple of things. The biggest thing in my book is for this is going to be chat feature, the ability to do online chatting. See if I can't get this thing to pull up here. Looks like it's not going to pull up while I have my PowerPoint open. That's fine. The chat feature is turned on the Excite, and it's run through Excite's desktop. I can't even on a class like this, I can't actually demonstrate the chat feature on the same PC. I can't have a chat with myself on the same PC anyway, so show that. Didn't want to show the screen though, but that's okay. You guys could figure out which button to click on. It's just one button. Okay, we already talked about a blog, but I keep bringing it up because it is important. So yes, you can write a blog and you can post a link to it like I did on the dynamic content there on the side. The information and assistance you offer must have tangible value to the visitor. Again, you'll notice one of the bullet points with impulse offers, they're not going to do anything impulsive if they're not going to get something of tangible value right off the bat, right? Okay, important, easy to do, but everybody forgets to do this. Okay, you've got to organize your website. You can do, if you've got lots of audience, which is most appraisers, how they run their business, you've got lenders and you've got attorneys and you've got homeowners and you've got CPAs and whatever. You've got lots of audiences, so you can use audience-based organization. If you've got few audiences, you can use category-based organization, types of appraisals, for instance. Lots of content, you use flyout menus and button spacers. Let me give you an example of all of these right up front, right here on my home page. On the left, I have 4 buyers, 4 homeowners. These are pages that are built in. You'll notice I have flyouts for each one of these. I'll show you how to create these. But there's something else I could do here. 4 buyers, 4 homeowners. Rather than attorney services and lender services, I could say 4 attorneys, 4 lenders, or I could come up and say homeowner services or buyer services. With me, I could actually change what goes here. But it's obviously organized over here on the side. We get in and do that, and you'll notice there's a space in between a lot of these where there isn't an actual button. That's what a spacer is for denoting organization. We'll be done editing the home page here. So what was it? Attorney services. I have that. It's a custom page. Attorney services. Let me call this 4 attorneys. Of course, I'd have to have content for the attorneys to begin with, but that's a whole nother ball of wax. Save and close that. What was the other one? It was attorney services and homeowner services, was it? Did I have 4 homeowners? I can't remember which one I had. Lender services, that's right. So there it is, lender services. I just flat out missed it. 4 lenders. And save it out. Now I can go back to my home page and refresh it. And it makes it more obvious, does it not? That this is a group here, 444. The eye actually sees that. The fact that there are flyouts here. Let me show you how to do the flyouts now. In step 7, find a page that you like, and you drag it and you drop it on top of another one. So let's say that I want to take my real estate glossary, which might be helpful for homeowners, and put it in the For Homeowners thing. You'll notice I get a plus sign here. Of course, you won't have that. You have just a single page by itself. But if I take my my real estate glossary and hover over For Homeowners, I can then put it wherever I'd like. I can drag it and drop it. In order to create a flyout, you just drag it and drop it right on top of the one button, and it will create the next one. So in order to create inspection tips, I just dragged and dropped inspection tips right on top of For Homeowners. or whatever it was at the time. You can click here to add button separators down to the bottom, and you can drag and drop your button separators wherever you'd like as well, and space things out a little bit better. Delete them if you don't need them, and so forth. Maybe I don't need one here. See if this makes any difference. This might make it actually a little bit easier to see the organization on the side. It does. See how compressing that without button spacers highlights the 4444 over here on the side, makes it a little bit more obvious what's going on here. If I were to move those spaces, it would be even more obvious. So use your button spacers to draw attention to the navigation, the way that you have things laid out to begin with. Remove those button spacers and refresh my home page. And it just jumps out at you, doesn't it? This is what I need to be looking at in my navigation. So this is audience-based organization. That's what most of you are going to use. So that's my example there. Category-based information, which is for fewer audiences. This is for those of you that really just make the jump. Trust me on this, and make the jump and say that you highlight your website only for attorneys. Well, if you're going to work just for attorneys, then your audience is for attorneys. Then your organization would be around the types of appraisals that you do, the divorce appraisals or the estate appraisals or the general purpose forms that you use, or whatever else, your services, types of appraisals that you do. Okay. In the main menu, and this, by the main menu, I'm talking about across the top, you're going to want to do activity buttons, things that you think people are going to use, the important stuff across the top. Right? You wouldn't put local links or testimonials across the top. You'd put things that are important, things like contact us or our service map or link to the blog, actionable items across the top. That's your primary navigation right across the top there. A subset of organization has to do with your footer. Your footer should support the content, and it should support really the main content. You're going to want to include obviously things like your contact information. Main contact information doesn't have to be everything. You can include logos and affiliations. Things like, oh gosh, if you're a member of AI, or if you're the Appraisal Institute, or if you're NAFA, if you local MLS, Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau. Heck, even the Equal Housing Opportunity logo at the bottom of your website on every page, having that little logo down there adds just a smidgen of credibility. It doesn't cost you anything except about 10 seconds worth of copy and paste, right? That's what we're talking about. It's just a smidgen of credibility, but it ends up being on every page of your website since it's part of the footer. Lots of different things you can do down there. Logos and affiliations is a really good thing. Links to your social network profiles. Fan me on Facebook, fan me on Twitter. That ought to be in there. Include your most important site links. Look, I'll explain what I mean exactly by that. The most important ones should be the ones that go down there, not everything. And anything else that you think that might be important enough to go on every page, like what I've got in my footer, which is a clarification of the purpose of my website, which is don't use me to place orders. So in step 8, you customize your footer by clicking Customize, highly encrypted. This is a demonstration site only. In fact, I could probably make that a little bit bigger. You'll notice that's obviously going to be on every page of my website. You can put whatever you want to in there. Say you want to put in the Equal Housing Opportunity logo and the Better Business Bureau logo or something like that. And you can actually create your own footer. I'm going to, and this is good for center justification. This is one of the good times to center justify things. Let me create a table. A 1x3 table. Blanks in it. Let me add in, I think we have still the Equal Housing Opportunity File Manager in ClipArt. Have this. Now, we do have that, but let me go ahead and put in, let's go and browse. Let's do something funky here. We are coming up on the end. I know you guys are probably getting a little weary because it's been about an hour and 20 minutes that we've been at this, but we're about done. This is the last really big thing that we need to talk about here. So let me do a real job on this. Let's search for Facebook. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I know that you guys can do this too. Alamo.com. Somewhere on here we have Alamo on Twitter. Find what's a good Twitter. Get a good image of Twitter here. Well, let's just use Google. Google Images. Here we go. I like the Twitter icon. Works for me. Right-click, save picture as. Let's save it to my desktop. I'll save it as Twitter. Can't type today. For those of you that have used images in your Excite, this will be old hat to you. If I click where I want it to go, I click the image manager, I'm going to upload it. Where'd you go? Twitter. Upload. I'll find it, select it, and insert it. What about Facebook? We'll do the same thing for Facebook real quick. I like this one. I like this image. Right-click, save picture as, Facebook. That works for me. Back to the website. Oops. Editing my footer, aren't I? Click where I want it to go. You'll notice it's in my table there. Upload this one. Where's Facebook? Upload. I find it in the list and say insert. Of course, it is bigger, so I can resize it, make it like the others. In fact, let me swap these out. I'll do copy. Actually, I'll paste the Facebook in there, and then I'll insert the Twitter on the other side, sort of balance it out a little bit. And I'll make the EHO a little bit bigger for balance sake. Okay? Maybe a Better Business Bureau would work better. I don't know. You guys can figure out what it is that you want. Do your own thing. I'm just going to hit update. You're going to want a link to it, right? So you click on it, and you click the link, just like in the Jumpstart class, and you go to facebook.com/whatever you are. Joel Baker, whatever. Mine's not Joel Baker. Get the idea. And link to your Twitter account. You can link to EHO if you want to. But yes, make those links. That's a good thing. Anyway, your site footer for your navigation, this is down at the bottom, remember, has certain buttons. What you don't want to do is you don't want to have a link to every single page in your website. You want to link to the things that are most important down at the bottom of your web page. For instance, I have on mine just a link to the top, maybe 12 things that are important. Just check the boxes for them, and they're down at the bottom. Mike, appreciate you coming, buddy. Okay. My penultimate slide here is a little bit about SEO. It'll be old hat for those of you who were here yesterday. Use local content pages specific to your areas, right? Dedicated pages, dedicated to particular areas, and write the custom page titles and descriptions. Remember we talked about your tags yesterday. Got to write a good page title and description dedicated to the keywords for that particular page. Facebook and Twitter again, Use your blog regularly. It's good for SEO. Turn on your Google and Yahoo sitemaps. We talked about that as well yesterday in the top 10 SEO, how to get your Google account. But in order to set up your sitemap to make sure that Google finds you, you follow the instructions in the wizard, which is right here under the search engine tools. Go to search engine tools, go to Google Sitemaps. You follow the instructions. If you already have a free account, this is remarkably simple. You take something that Google gives you, find the right page for it, following the instructions here, and you literally paste it in and hit save. You go back to Google and you hit the verify button. Fairly straightforward there.